Arthur, owner of the Black Titanic. Hit that like button, share and subscribe. Remember, eagles flies with eagles. All right now, hit the like button, share and subscribe. This is Arthur Omer, and remember, eagles fly with. So let's start with this friend right here. We're talking about when friends become your enemy. Let's analyze this situation. Melody is sharing with this girl that Martell went and exposed her medical report to his baby mom. And then he called her Arian's name. However, Arian gonna make it sounds as though he was in the heat of passion when he called her by her name. But Melody said she didn't care about that. She's over it. And so Stormy gonna say, hey, do you think it's real or do you think it's fake when he called you Arian? Let's look at this friendship. Friendship ought to involve a strong emotional bond between people. As long as the friendship is healthy and striving, that bond is a good thing, right, y'all? But when a friendship takes a turn for the worse, that bond makes it hard to have a clean break. So this friendship took a turn for the worse because the recording was leaked somehow, but it was just something innocent and righteously so. After Mel evaluated situations in her head, she had been recorded before. Her children had been recorded before. So she had a valid reason of thinking, well, who recorded that? And most likely she was feeling like it was Martell. But Stormy Mama took it and ran with it. So, do she have a clean break with Stormy? This can lead to former friends being open enemies. If you feel that you're in a situation, you have to identify the signs of an unfriendly friend. Let go of the friendship. Neutralize any negative action that your friend takes against you. And so Melody tried to neutralize the action that the friend took against her, but she said, look, I was not talking about nobody that was in my house about this recording. Yet and still, Stormy, Mom, they double down. And Stormy double down, so she is not going to check her mama. Her mama is grown. We're talking about friends that now has become their enemy. Their whole conversation is about Mel, but there's no rekindling this relationship. Obviously, when a person talk about you behind your back, you know that that's not a good sign. Mel had decided to let go of these friendships. She is no longer friends with these people. She says she's not friends with them, you guys. Yeah, she had to let go of them. If you have a friend that you have decided now is your enemy, you have to let go of the friendship. This means releasing the good times and the bad times. And that's what Martell was trying to do. He invited these people on the vacation in Florida, Tisha over there. And, he was just trying to remind them of the good times that they used to have. But there was no turning back. This process will never happen again with Mel. She have created some kind of moving ritual, of moving you guys out your life. Yeah, Destiny, you're saying, oh yeah, we able to be cordial at all. But the fact is, Mel has had this moving ritual. She have been moved you out of her life, and Stormy, you're on your way out the door too. Do something that symbolizes the end of the friendship
And that would symbolize the end of the friendship, I think, that can never be rekindled, is when Destiny called her mama a pimp, said that she was pimping Mel out. And when Tisha was talking about her daughter, Tisha and her mother was talking about her kids, the little host kids, talking about their hair, telling Sugar Mama that she shouldn't have had Sugar Mama. Tisha telling her she shouldn't have had Sugar Mama, and she married to the man now. Yeah, stay focused. Yeah, Melody, you gotta stay focused on these people. Cause if you dwelling on the past, it would drain you. That's why she had to protect her energy, because that's all they do is dwell on the past. That energy is exciting to Tisha. Tisha and her husband lay every waking hour talking about Mel. Yeah, but Mel is an example of someone that had made peace in her life. Yeah, move on out. Letting go of that friendship. She have neutralized this enemy. She have let go of all of y'all, and y'all still talking about this lady. She has overlooked a lot of drama coming from you ladies, as much as possible. An enemy that was made from a friend is likely to be holding on to some type of grudges. All these women have grudges against Mel, and for what? They may try to upset her, entice her to arguing and bicker with her all the time. But what she do, she ignore. She ignored this immature behavior, and she focused on conducting herself and her business, being respectful in the eyes of the community. She's been polite in social situations to all of these ladies, yet they have, and she has set clear boundaries. That's right, Mel. Mel has set clear boundaries with her enemies. No more rekindling a relationship with you girls.
This is Sherry Peoples. She's one of the black mothers that has been affected by the trauncy law with Kamala Harris. You guys voted for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is not one of us. Sometimes she's Indian, sometimes she's white, sometimes she's Asian, or she turned black when she needed us to vote for her when she ran for president in 2020, I believe. But anyway, this is Kamala Harris has the worstest law when it comes to locking up African Americans. But here is Mrs. People telling you how she was affected by Kamala Harris. Everybody knows that Kamala Harris was a prosecutor in California. If you go in front of her, you know she's gonna lock you up.
My stepfather, my newborn son at the time, father woke me up after a long night of sleep, of non-sleep, being up with my colicky son. Sheree, somebody at the door for you. And I thought he said the police. When you have sleep path up, you're really not paying attention. And I go down the stairs, and to my belief, it was 2 police officers in front of my door. So they said, "Are you Sheree Peoples?" I said, "Yes." And they told me I was under arrest for truancy for Shayla Rucker. I'm like, truancy for Shayla Rucker? My face just, it didn't make sense to me. I couldn't put it together in my mind, because I know I just had meetings with this school. I know I did. I'm like, I just had a 504 plan. We just had an IEP meeting because they just denied her IEP. And I'm like, can't I just talk to y'all? And I'm thinking, they were there to help me. And he said, "No, Miss Peoples, I have a warrant for your arrest." I said, so you telling me you gonna put handcuffs on me? He was like, yeah, it's the law. I'm like, okay. So I said, can I use the bathroom then? He was like, yeah, you can use the bathroom. Go upstairs. I used the restroom, and all I could think about is like, I don't have no thoughts. I didn't know what to think at that time. I just was, all I could do was just shake my head like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. That's all I kept saying, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. Like, for truancy, I understand going to jail for something I did, that I stole something or I hurt somebody. I can understand going to jail for that. But going to jail behind something I have no control over, I just couldn't put two to two together. It just didn't seem right. So I proceeded and I kissed my son goodbye. I asked the officer if I can kiss my son, and he was like, yes. And, they was trying to be extra polite to me. And I couldn't understand it. Like, why are they trying to be so nice and making sure I get my cell phone, making sure I have a jacket and so I can call upon release? I just didn't get it. I was so lost. So they made sure I had my things. I proceeded to go down the stairs, and before they opened the door, they put the handcuffs on me. And I can just feel the coldness from the cuffs and the sound. I don't see how people can just get arrested and be okay with it. But he opened the door, and it was really bright outside, and the sun was beaming right in my face. And my door faces east, the same way the sun rises to the east. And I can hear this clicking, click, 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 click. And I looked, and it was cameras and people taking pictures and all kind of just people. Officers, people in uniforms, people in regular clothes, people. It was just a lot of people. I thought, like, if you would have just looked around like I was Jeffrey Dahmer or I had murdered somebody, as many people as it was. They had social workers to take my son away if somebody wasn't there to care for him. And I was like, wow, all of this for little old me? Even the worst criminals don't get this sometimes, So they took me down to Santa Ana. They booked me. It was so funny because the officers even left a warrant at the police station. So they had to go all the way back to get the original warrant before they can even process me. So I just sat there in a holding tank until the officer go back and get the warrant. I sat there in that jail cell talking so much. Ooh, excuse my language, boy, but boy,
So what you're looking at is Kamala Harris, how she really feels about the Black community. You guys voted this woman in office. Her mass incarceration record is just really ridiculous when it comes to locking up Black people. She supports the three-strike law. She does. She failed to support progressive measures when it comes to reforming the justice system, because she was part of that lock them up, lock these Black folks up. So in 2010, a memo went out showing that Harris deputies in the DA office knew that a police laboratory technician had been accused of intentionally sabotaging work, stealing drugs from the lab, and withholding information from the defense lawyers. This is the kind of stuff that Harris was doing. Over 600 cases had to be thrown out because of Harris and these corrupted technicians. They were dismissed. Now, under the mass incarceration, people became aware that mass incarceration was a failed experiment, especially for Black people. Harris failed to support the progressive measure that would elevate some of its impact. Now, in some cases, she was the DA in California, and Harris, she will lock you up for the little of nothing. What about in 2016? Michael Brown and Eric Garner had been killed by police officers, sparkling national protests and marches. Harris opposed a bill requiring her office to investigate fatal police officer shooting. She refused to support statewide standard for body camera. Well, Martin Luther King wrote, he said, I've seen all this police injustice. I have seen it, and I know what it has done to our people. Then Harris turned around and she wrote, yeah, let's go back over there. Dr. King wrote in 1958, I had seen police brutality with my own eyes. Watch Negro receive the most tragic injustice in the court. Harris turned around and tried to copy it. She said, America has a deep and dark history of people using the power of the prosecutor as an instrument of injustice. Harris says, I know this history well. An innocent man framed, charges brought against people without sufficient evidence of prosecuting. I know this well. How prosecute hide information that would exonerate defendant. And I know it well of the injustice. But anyway, the law professor said, Harris, as a prosecutor, did every one of those things. And when called to account, Harris would defend her office and fought to keep victims behind bars. Time after time, Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful conviction that had been secured through official misconduct. Also, people that they were proved to be innocent, locked up decades, proved to be innocent, she would keep them behind bars. Then after they got out, she fought to keep them from getting reparations. This is who y'all wrote in office. The 3 strike law is what she support. Now Biden, she was the best ticket for Biden. They got the same record, you guys. Biden is not your friends. Harris is not your friends. Sometimes she Black, sometimes she Asian, sometimes she white, whatever the wind goes and however it benefits her. You guys voted this woman in the office, and let me tell y'all something. Biden has wrote into law that police officers don't have to read your rights anymore. Biden had wrote into law that we would not get no reparation, but he given reparation to Afghanistan. He have given reparation to Asian. He have given reparation to every group there is that they're not even Americans, and they receiving millions and millions of dollars. Jim Crow, Biden is what I call him, stood in the front of the school stuff and said, no way will my children, white children, will be integrating with you misfits, you Black kids. This woman right here is a victim of Kamala Harris. Cheryl People is her name. Cheryl
talking crap. All of them women in there could have been pissed off ready to fight me because I was in there talking crap. No, the heck they didn't just arrest me. I can't believe this. My daughter has sickle cell. I was in there talking mess. They released me that same day.
Well, this woman was arrested because her daughter had this debilitating illness, sickle cell anemia. She had all the documents to prove that her daughter had been in the hospital. Yeah.
Kamala Harris ordered that this woman, along with many other black women, be arrested.
These were elementary school kids, black kids from elementary school that she had labeled criminals. She claimed that's why they needed to be locked up. The mothers need to be locked up because they would be most likely the one to be criminals. These black women was cry and weep because they had to document that their children had sickle cell anemia. Their children was hospitalized all this time, yet she locked them up. Yeah, she know all too well of all these hidden information that would exonerate defendants like these mothers. Yeah, so Harris as DA, she time after time when progressive urged her to embrace this criminal justice reform as a DA, she would oppose it. Most troubling, Miss Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful conviction that had been secured through official misconduct that included evidence tampering, false testimony, and the suppression of crucial information by prosecution. It should matter to us that Harris, the ardent criminal justice reformer, not only did little to enact this reform during her years as a prosecutor, but she backed harsh punitive policies that affected our community, you guys. This is who you voted for. This is why she said she is not finna give black people reparation along with Joe Biden. This voice you hear is Kamala Harris when she's talking about her record as being a drug lord.
Did not know about it, and they said they did not know about it.
The debacle has since led to the dismissal of.
Okay, let's just go.
Her office appealed the dismissal of the case in which a prosecutor had fabricated a confession to secure a conviction and fought an appeal in a case where a prosecutor had lied to the jury during trial. In 2015, Harris tried to stop the removal of the Orange County District Attorney's Office from a murder trial after it repeatedly failed to turn over evidence to the defense. Her office even tried to keep a man in jail who had been wrongfully incarcerated for 13 years after a judge ruled that he had proven himself innocent just because the man hadn't delivered that proof quite fast enough. And as San Francisco
Did y'all hear that? This man, they had proved that he was innocent. He spent 13 years under her. She prosecuted him, and then after he was proven innocent, this woman still kept him in jail. Keep it right.
Harris hid known misconduct by a crime lab technician who admitted to deliberately tainting evidence.
Did prosecutors working under you know about the concerns about that lab?
The prosecutors
which is what the judge alleged.
Did not know about it, and they said they did not know about it.
The debacle has since led to the dismissal of hundreds of criminal cases.
These cases, a lot of cases had to be thrown out because she had these criminals working in the lab, and she knew that they would be falsifying information to convict black people, you guys. Some white men were convicted too under her, but most of them was black.
It's past time we get done is dismantling the failed war on drugs, starting with legalizing marijuana.
Your opponent, Ron Gold, said that he is for the legalization of marijuana recreationally. Your thoughts on that?
That he's entitled to his opinion.
Harris is a former drug warrior who is now refashioning herself as pro-legalization. That's a positive shift, but not a reason to rewrite the past or ignore the patterns it reveals in her judgment.
Anyway, know who you're voting for. Know who you're voting for. You guys have voted for the most two notorious people ever you can put in office, and that's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden back in the day was ruthless when it comes to African American children. Y'all, the names that he called African American kids, he was against immigration. He been against anything, any progress for black people. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all need to do y'all research. Just because they Democrat don't mean that they are for us. Do your research, black people, and quit voting just for the sake of cause somebody look like you just because they Democrat. We ain't move an inch under the Democrat. If you put Trump history against Biden history, Trump has never ever wrote any policy against black America. No, I didn't vote for Trump and I didn't vote for Biden. I am neither nor. Both of them are evil. There's no such thing as voting for the lesser evil. Evil is evil.